Good morning. It's about 6:15 in the morning. Would have been over here a little sooner, but I was editing some video. I'm gonna cut these wind braces before I have to go to work. I got one of these wind braces cut, and I'm cutting the second one now. First step is just to draw the lines on, knife it, and then cut as close to that knife line as possible. Like, I could have even gone a little closer, really. Especially this side here, I got off of it a little bit, or I had the saw tilted at first, and then it kind of came in correctly. So if I get it super close, then I can just run this this sweet little number 4.5 laying over it, and you can still find these at a lot of places as antiques, and you can even get it new through like Lee Nielsen or Woodcraft. I think sells something like it, but this is an old one. I think it was my great-grandfather's. So then you can run a plane like that over the end grain and just get closer and closer to that line, and that's an easy way to get a nice flat bearing surface. This wants to be pretty flat and accurate because this whole surface here acts as a bearing point when when the wind hits that roof and wants to just kind of twist the roof plane, push on the posts. This will help keep all the top plates in a nice solid rectangle there in that plane. The braces on the posts will help keep them straight, and this will help keep the whole frame from racking. So it's a nice, it doesn't take a whole lot of extra time, doesn't cost a whole lot more to add something like this to the frame. And I think it looks cool, and it also just makes it a lot more stable and resilient. And that's especially important for a structure like this that doesn't have any walls, and that's going to want to move. It doesn't have any walls to brace it. Okay, so I got both these ends flattened out, and I want it to be, as close to perfectly flat as possible, just so that whole surface can make contact. Right, and it's pretty good. So I've done that on both sides, and I got it close with that larger plane. Then I use this really nice Lee Nielsen smaller block plane to take it in, because the center was a little proud, and that wide plane was a bit hard to focus in on a smaller region. So I used this one to finish it off on both sides. And so now we got nice 2 flat surfaces, and the next thing I'm going to do is just clip this little nosing here, because this is where there's actually a lot of force that comes in on that tiny point there. And that's a lot of the resistance to the racking comes in at, so that's also an important surface to keep really flat. All right, so that's 2 wind braces done. It's about 7:45, but my battery's getting low, so I'm not going to film the other 2 today. I can only work for about another 2 hours here before I have to head in to the office and start the full-time job. So yeah, it's a beautiful morning. I like working out here in the morning. It's nicer than the evening, actually. So hopefully I can keep doing this. But thanks for sticking with me here, and have a great day. So I'm going to use a little bit of battery here just to talk about something real quick. I ended up doing snap-line square rule on this piece here because it's got, let's see, it's kind of hard to see here. It's pretty out of square overall, and it's got a pretty serious crown to it. Let's see if I can, yeah, here so you can see. Yeah, so you can see how it's got a curve along the whole length. So if you try to lay that out, even if you square the piece the whole way across, if I would go down this thing with a framing square and a hand plane and square it locally the whole way across, it's still going to have this this bow to it, which would mean that if I'm laying stuff out locally from that reference edge, it could still be kind of out of whack, like not straight. It might go together kind of weird. So I've decided to snap a line on it, level it, draw lines on the ends. So I've got 4 lines snapped on this thing. I did this before, but then that gives me a 2 perfect, or as close to perfect as I can get, reference planes then to do all the layout off of. And no matter how out of square this thing is or twisted, we're going to have all our joinery is going to be based on this these 2 perfect planes, and can actually be a square piece within a wonky piece. So the joinery should be clean. There will be like where it meets with the other pieces should line up really good, and it's gonna bow. It's gonna go like, how's it gonna lay in the frame? Yeah, it's gonna lay like this, so it'll come up proud, and this will be the upper face, so that's kind of how you want it anyway. Crown up, and then so it'll hit clean at the joinery, come up proud in the middle, and then hit clean back on the other side. It should be good. And I'm gonna actually reduce it where it hits too. So I'm gonna bring it up here and have a flat space based on these reference lines where it hits at the bottom. And I'm also gonna reduce it back here, so it'll be square all the way around where it hits the other piece. And I don't know, it might just be me, but something about this snap-line square rule stuff is sort of elegant and beautiful. You're working with like funky, out of square, bowed, twisted pieces, and you can lay out joinery that is still square and clean, and you're sort of finding that nice piece within the wood. And you can do the same thing with scribing, and actually scribing is even better. And usually for stuff like this, it's sort of a combination of snap-line and scribing to get like the best quality, which I could do here if I would sort of occupy that concrete pad over there for a while, or if I really took the time to lay stuff out on the ground here and get things really level. I don't really want to have stuff sitting out kind of exposed to the weather and the sun for multiple days at a time while I have like a layout set up. So I feel like, and with the time constraints, I'm trying to do this as quickly as I can and still do something that's really high quality. So with all that in mind, I'm not going to be doing any scribing, but that would be the way to really take it to the next level, which scribing's awesome.